Yo, what up? What up? What up? This is a very late live stream, but I decided to do it to give the man justice that deserves justice. And if you see the title, you know what man that is. So whoever catches the replay can catch the replay. So 48 years ago, one of Africa's greatest leaders was taken from us. When I think of Amílcar Cabral, I think that in many ways he's like underrated as an African leader. You know, a lot of times we're bombarded with, for example, Nelson Mandela. Um, that's pretty much it. You know, at least on this side of town. You know, on in the Western concept. You know, they'll bombard you with Nelson Mandela for the simple fact that he took a nonviolent approach to maintain his means or get to his means. One thing about the West is that they keep the radical leaders under wraps and they make the radical leaders out to be bad guys. That includes Steve Biko. That would include Muammar Gaddafi. That would also include like Thomas Sankara as well. That would include many others, you know, who fit that mode, the radical mode, you know. And with Amilcar Cabral, the thing is about him is the reason why, me personally, the reason why I put him ahead of many other African leaders is the simple fact that not only did he set the tone to win independence for both Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde, but little do people know he set the tone for the independence of Angola as well, as he was a founding member of the MPLA, you know. So with Amilcar Cabral, although he was a, I guess you can say, a Bissauan of Cape Verdean stock, he still concerned himself with the freedom of Angola, which is, you know, further south away from his two places of origin, you know. To take it a step further with Amilcar Cabral, a lot of people don't know that if it wasn't for Amilcar Cabral, there may not have even been a Grenada Revolution because of the simple fact that, you know, Maurice Bishop at the time, studying to be a lawyer and seeing the plight of his people, knew that something had to be done. And he drew inspiration from the freedom fight of Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde, you know. Unfortunately, those two never met. You know, Amilcar Cabral never met Maurice Bishop, you know. But people don't understand that Amilcar Cabral, he was really the blueprint for a lot of these African leaders, you know. he's just not really spoken of like that. He's not that known to many, you know. But that doesn't negate the fact that he is, the blueprint, right? So another distinguishing factor about Amílcar Cabral, okay, this live stream is not going to be like a biography about Amílcar Cabral. I'm just going to highlight some things about him and talk a bit about, the culture that he was trying to impart on, us Africans. Now, the thing that was remarkable about Amílcar Cabral was, for some reason, and I guess this has to do with him actually spending time in both places as a youth. He spent time in Guinea-Bissau, and he also spent time in Cabo Verde as well, right? His thing was trying to unite the two together. He did not look at Guinea-Bissau or Cabo Verde as two different entities. He even said himself that, Bissauans and Cabo Verdes, like Cape Verdeans, Cabo Verdeano, Cabo Verdeana, whatever you want to call it. He even said himself that they are one people. And I guess the reason why he said that is for the simple fact that throughout his reading and throughout his studying, he did the history about like how slaves were brought to Cabo Verde off the west coast of Africa, and what groups went to which islands. So I guess that's why he puts that card. Now, I don't know for sure if he was of the agreement that there were already Africans inhabiting the Cape Verde Islands. I'm not quite sure about that. But he felt that Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde should be one thing, one entity. That's what he felt deep inside, you know. Now, unfortunately, that didn't happen. What's also pretty interesting is the fact that in order to carry out his mission, which was to liberate those territories, he of course needed outside help. Well, I can't really say outside help. Um, More like local help to set up bases to do what he needs to do. So he set up bases in Senegal, and he also set up bases in Guinea-Conakry. The outside help came in the form of schooling, weapons, and military training. You had cadres going to Morocco for military training. You had cadres going to Algeria for military training. You had cadres going to Cuba for different types of training. You also had cadres going to the Eastern Bloc for different types of training. And a lot of people like to call Cabral a Marxist, but he wasn't a Marxist. Sure, he probably was influenced by the Marxist readings he did, because he did read, Karl Marx and Lenin as well. But he was by no means a dogmatic guy. That wasn't in him. As a matter of fact, the thing is that, you know, my tribe, the Fula, were kind of reluctant to join the cause because here comes this man, and although every single group was getting exploited by the Portuguese, every single last group, be it Bijacos, be it Papels, be it Falupes, be it Jolas, be it Mandingas, be it Criollos, be it Fulas, be it Manjacas. During Portuguese colonialism, everybody was getting exploited, ridiculed, humiliated, and marginalized, no matter what the tribe. The thing is that, however, the Portuguese, like most people do, um, assign chiefdoms to to keep people from actually rebelling, you know. And a majority of those chiefdoms were Fulas, you know. But eventually, Fulas started coming around and joining the cause and joining the plight. And it's also interesting that because he was not dogmatic, there was talks of him actually opening up, like doing an Arabic school for the Muslim cadres that he had, since he had quite a few Muslim cadres, you know what I mean, in his ranks, you know. Now, early on, he made mistakes, and even later on, he made mistakes. And I think, like a lot of leaders of this, like around this area, they like to give the benefit of the doubt to their, cadres. And sometimes they're too lenient on them and let them get away with certain things, although those cadres are plotting to take over or plotting to kill the leader. For some reason, they, I don't know, they think lightly of it. That's usually what happens most of the time. So, with that being said, another mistake he made, I guess, and I think I know why he made this mistake, is the simple fact that um, because of Cape Verdeans, like because of some Cape Verdeans who are very light in complexion, very, having a very, very light complexion, they were more or less what they call assimilados. And so what that means is they pretty much assimilated into Portuguese culture. They spoke perfect Portuguese language. And because they did that, the Portuguese, although they did not look at us as, you know, completely Portuguese, they said, well, I guess they're passing. And so what that meant is that they were they were more likely to get a chance to study in Portugal. I mean, Amílcar Cabral is an example of that, of him studying agronomy and hydraulic engineering in Portugal, right? And because he did that, you know, it exposed him to the reality of colonialism. You know, I read a book and he said there was actually human beings in Portugal. So, yeah, when Portuguese, though, a lot of Portuguese unfortunately say that they're the most racially tolerant people. but in the European Union, I should say, but they're anything but that, you know. As a matter of fact, you hear about more people, more Africans getting killed in Portugal by police than anywhere else. You know, it's extremely racist. But Amílcar Cabral was not just trying to aimlessly go around killing Portuguese people. He was killing, he was going around fighting the Portuguese people who were against the sovereignty of Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde and still wanted to exploit the African population. And so Amílcar Cabral, he was a Simonado. He was for a little while. But when he saw the reality of things, it kind of re-Africanized him. And so he had study centers in while he was studying at college. But these study centers kind of created suspicion amongst the secret Portuguese police, you know, because they thought he was plotting on, they thought he was basically plotting to rebel. That's what it was about, pretty much. Now, the significant thing that I was about to say is kind of a trial and error thing. The trial was because of most of the Seminados were Portuguese or were Cape Verdean, that he would put them in leadership positions in the party, which is called the PAIGC, which stands for Partido Independencia Guinea-Bissau e Cabo Verde. Okay. So because they did have more education at times, he put them in leadership positions, but that didn't go well with a lot of Bissauans. So what happened is, he went on many diplomatic tours to try to get help for the cause, you know, and with the help he got, he was able to set independence in motion. You know? And so, you know, he was able to bring the two people together. He was able to bring Basalians together. He was able to bring Cabo Verdeans together for a single cause. And I think that's important to this day. It's unfortunate that, me, I fall into being a pure African. Like, I'm not Criollo. I'm not Criollo. I'm Fula, you know. And because of that, in Cabo Verde, today, that's looked at as how should I say it? Um, a notch below them, because unfortunately, Amilcar Cabral was trying to teach us not to do this, but self hate is real. And so you will find that same thing, that same dynamic of, I'm lighter, I have better hair than you, I have a better nose than you, I have that Portuguese bloodline in me. You will find that amongst Cape Verdeans still, you know. And so because he died before he can see his work, that unity never happened, you know. it was short last. The unity between Guinea, Bissau, and Cabo Verde was short last. Now, there is a plot twist. And I don't know how true this is, but Sekou Touré, he desired that and Sekou Touré is the leader of Guinea at this time, Guinea Conakry. Sekou Touré decided that he kind of wanted to have um, one country. He wanted Guinea Conakry and Guinea Bissau to be one country. Now, I don't know how the idea was presented to Amílcar Cabral or if it was presented at all, but that was his initial goal to do that, to combine the two. Now, the unity between Cape Verde and Creole and people like Manjacas, people like Mandingas, people like Falupes, people like Papels, people like Saracola, I think it's called Sar- Sar- Saracoli, I believe, which is just another word for Sanike, who come from diverse backgrounds, who come from diverse religions and lifestyle and worldviews. The fact that he was able to unite these people under one banner is a testament in itself, you know, and that just goes to show you his greatness, you know. But since it's going to be kind of a short video, you know, or a short broadcast, I should say, I will say that, you know, the CIA, the Portuguese and the CIA are denying that they had involvement with his murder because his murder happened at the hands of a disgruntled old comrade of his, you know, and then it was another comrade who finished the job, you know. And so because of that, you know, what what Guinea-Bissau and what Cabo Verde could have been, it was never realized, you know, because his brother, his half brother Louis Cabral, he, you know, he he became president, the first president. And because Amilcar's mission wasn't finished, you know, Guinea-Bissau has been through civil war after civil war, military juntas, etc. Now, I will say Cabo Verde is more stable. You know, Cabo Verde is more stable, but it still has its share of problems. But it's more stable than Bissau, I would say, at this time. So, you know, when they showed his funeral, there were so many people crying. You know, they loved that guy. There were only like two haters, maybe more, because some did spy on him and they used the PAIGC as a means to spy on him, you know, for the Portuguese. Because here's the thing, you had certain individuals who were African, be it they're from Angola, be it from Bissau, and they were in the Portuguese army. They were in the colonial army. They were actually fighting their own brothers and sisters, you know, for the material benefits that that you know were going to be garnered by being in the Portuguese army. because granted, you're going to make more money, you know, and that's how it works. You know? So, yep. As a matter of fact, the attack with Operation like Green Sea, that's what it's translated to because it's called Mar Verde. They actually had because the Portuguese were trying to kill Amilcar Cabral once and for all. They were trying to eliminate him. Um, but the problem is he wasn't in Guinea Conakry at the time. He was out traveling on a diplomatic assignment. So, you know, they attacked they attacked Guinea Conakry, the Portuguese did, in hopes of finding him, and they used African mercenaries to do it for the most part. And the crazy thing is, the Portuguese troops who were there, if an African was injured, the Portuguese would leave him behind and would not help him. You know, imagine that you're fighting, you're you're fighting alongside, but that person doesn't think enough of you to help you out if you're injured, despite being on the same side. You know, so you know, I think Camille Conqueror, he transcends so many things. And the thing that really brings it home is the fact that, that colorism didn't exist with him, that, that era of superiority did not exist to him. Like, unfortunately, a lot of um, us from Cabo Verde, you know, I'm not saying it's all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's all. I'm not even saying it's most, but it's a good percentage. It's a very good percentage who feel that way. But Amilcar Cabral, he just really identified himself as an African, nothing more, nothing less. Didn't mention any Portuguese or anything of that nature. Now, one thing that happened the more he got Africanized, the more he realized how important it was to have a spouse who's African as well. His first spouse was a Portuguese woman. I think her name was Helena something, if I'm not mistaken. But his second wife was an African, you know. So got the picture. But anyhow, man, that's what I'm going to talk about. I still read about Amilcar Cabral to this day. I'm still getting new books about Amilcar Cabral to this day because he literally started with little means. It really just started in a room with a group of people who had the same vision in mind. And that that could be a lesson to us that we can start with whatever means we got and just make something happen that can, change a lot of us right now. But anyhow, man, if you catch the replay, that's good. Let's celebrate a legend. Let's celebrate someone who did it like nobody else did. Who was signing out? And God